Welcome to our June Words of Wisdom Empowerment Hour. We just want to say thank you. We know that it's not easy to give up your Monday evening, but we do want to say thank you for joining us. And we hope that this hour inspires you and encourages you and impacts you in some wonderful and beautiful way. Before we get started, we just want to recognize June as Caribbean American Heritage Month. As we serve Women of Culture, Inc. is an organization that serve women, families, and communities in the U.S., in Africa, and in the Caribbean. So we must say happy National Caribbean American Heritage Month.
Prayed 1,000 prayers and still can't find the answer anywhere. Fighting off the lie that no one cares. For anyone who's out there losing hope, feeling you're forsaken and alone, to the last strands of your rope. May God give you eyes to see He's still greater, courage to rise and believe He's able. May God be your peace in the fire you're walking through. This is my prayer now. This is my prayer for you. For all of those with tired and weary souls, but still have faith to ask for miracles, choosing to believe He's in control. Brother, all your days, all of your days, and may your eyes be ever on the Lord, your helper. May you find your refuge in the Lord, your shelter. May you find Him closer than a brother. All your days, all of your days. May God give you eyes to see He's still greater, courage to rise and believe He's able. May God be your peace in the fire you're walking through. This is my prayer now. This is my prayer for you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful song. So before I introduce our guest again tonight, my name is Donna Morton Morgan, and I am the founder and president of Women of Culture Incorporated. We want to just bring you and deposit a seed, spiritual encouragement, empowerment, development. So again, we hope that the series become a blessing to you, and not just you, but your family, friends, to your communities around the world, wherever you are. So without further ado, let's welcome Yvonne Brooks, author, life coach, Financial Abuse, Understanding the Spiritual Forces Attached to the Misuse of Money series. Let me say that we're going to be taking a break for July and August, so get your notes out, be ready, and take all you can tonight. All right, so turning it over, but not too far away. Welcome, Yvonne.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for having me again. I am excited about today, and I'm excited about the women who have taken the time, and some men who are on the line, just taking the time to come and to fellowship and to learn. Today, I'm going to focus on a very important spirit that actually has kept a lot of us in bondage for a long time. And so this spirit is a spirit of unforgiveness. And so before I even get into unforgiveness, because somebody's going to get set free today with this one, that's for sure. I'm guaranteeing that one. But before I go into that, did anyone do the exercise of doing the 30 days of gratitude letter? And did they see a shift in their finance? Can anyone give glory to God for that?
Let's check in and see.
So nobody did the assignment and nobody grew their finances. Okay. I grew mine.
I do, yeah, I do mine. I'm checking to see if any, you know.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed, because this is an assignment that I do daily with myself. And so it was just really interesting just to see that I'm constantly receiving increase, supernatural increase, an increase I didn't work for. And that's just by being grateful every day for what God gives me, what he's getting ready to give me. And so by practicing that on a daily basis, it just becomes natural where on a weekly basis, fresh income comes into you because you're just being grateful. Okay, so let's go into the spirit.
Tasha said she did her gratitude.
Oh, she did? Mm-hmm. Any increase in finances, Tasha?
Let's see.
A little bit.
She said yes.
Yay. Okay, right, because that's what we need to see. Yeah, definitely. I love it. Okay, so please feel free to stop me anytime. I'm going to go at a deep level with this spirit because I really want to have you take a hold of this spirit and cast it out of your life completely. So the spirit of unforgiveness, let's give you the definition of that spirit. This is a spirit, well, unforgiveness first is a state of emotional and mental distress that results from delayed response in forgiving yourself or the offender. So let me repeat that again. Unforgiveness is a state of emotional and mental distress that results from a delayed response in forgiving yourself or the offender that offended you. And so the spirit itself now, so here you've been offended, but you don't realize the importance of this offense and how it's going to affect your finances in the future. So unforgiveness is a block. It's like putting you in some kind of bondage for future finances. So you will not see today how it's affecting you. But 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years down the line, when you arrive at your financial destiny, you will begin to have issues with finances because of that unforgiveness. So my definition of this is drinking poison, putting yourself in prison, locking the door, throwing away the keys, and expecting someone else to feel your pain. Right? Repeat that again. Drinking poison, putting yourself in prison, locking the door, throwing away the key, and expecting someone else to feel your pain. Your financial pain only belongs to you. No one can apologize for the pain you feel about your money mistakes throughout the years. So unforgiveness now is a demand for self-punishment. So I want to talk about this in detail, and I want to look at, for example, the unforgiveness that you have with yourself. I'm not talking about other people right now, with yourself. Unforgiveness with finances that you misuse from the first time you started working up until the present. Mistakes that you made by probably making some wrong investments. Let's look at, for example, how do you punish yourself with money? Let's look at that. So I created at least 10 things that we do to punish ourselves with money. Number one, we focus more on the inability to pay the debt off. So if you have any kind of debt, the focus is the inability to pay it off. That is a form of punishment to yourself, because focusing on the inability to pay the debt off keeps you out of the ability to pay it off. So the mind is only going to attract more debt to pile that on, which is an indication that you haven't forgiven yourself for the debt that you created over the years. Number two, make sure you spend 100% of more of the money that comes into your hand. So with this, most individuals, what they will do is they will get, if they get $1,000, $100, $5,000, it doesn't matter how much it is, because of the unforgiveness with themselves, with how they use money, they force themselves to spend 100% of that money. And then what happens in that case, they sometimes, because spending 100% is not enough, they will begin to borrow so they can punish themselves even more. Any questions so far with this? Because I do want you guys to ask me questions so we can get rid of the spirit that is plaguing a lot of us for years. Any questions?
So you said that when you focus, where focus goes, energy grows, I guess. So when you're focusing more that you've got this big bill or whatever it is, and you can't pay it off, that actually is working against you.
Right. And it is somewhere, the reason why it is working against you is because on some level you have unforgiveness with yourself about a money mistake that you made. We have that, right? Okay, number three, refusing to pay tithe. Number four, refusing to save 10% of your income. So let's look at this one for a minute. What is it that tells you that it's okay to work hard for your money and give up over 90% of that? Well, more for some of us, but give up 90% to expenses. What thought would that be? Well, it's a thought that I'm not worthy of a savings account. I'm not worthy of savings. I've messed up so much. So I'm punishing myself by making sure that I never have enough to save. Very powerful punishment for those who have unforgiveness with finances. Mm-hmm. Number five, refusing to forgive yourself quickly when you become conscious of your money mistakes. So most of us are unconscious about the money mistakes that we're making, and we're unconscious that we are actually punishing ourselves with the behavior that we're practicing. And so one of the things is when you become aware and conscious that, wow, I've been punishing myself all these years, refusing to forgive yourself quickly keeps it going. Okay. And then I am looking for my number 6.
So it's
maybe I'll just give you
important
7 on this one. I'll just stop there with that one. Go ahead.
It's important to what you said, that we can unconsciously punish ourselves.
Yes, yes. That's what the spirit of unforgiveness is tied to, self-punishment. Because you, without knowing, it's an unconscious spirit that comes and, spends time with you. Because when you are having unforgiveness, the first thing you want to do is you're thinking that the unforgiveness is punishing other people, but it's really punishing you. So that's the first thing. When it comes to money, you use it even on a deeper level, because then you begin to find ways to make sure you don't keep money at all. So you go out of your way to make sure that you work harder, that you have more debt, that you are living paycheck to paycheck. So let's look at some of the responsibilities then you would need to take responsibility for, some of the mistakes. These are some of the mistakes that I want you to take a look at, that you need to take responsibility for. Because if you don't, the cycle is going to continue. There's no way someone can be set free in the area of finance to increase their money vibration without forgiving themselves for the money mistakes. So one of the money mistakes is not having an emergency fund. So an emergency fund is about 3 to 6 months of your monthly, say, expenses set aside in an account. Not necessarily calling it an emergency fund, but it's a fund that is set aside to make sure 3 months of your lifestyle, your current lifestyle, is set aside. Now, when somebody's under attack, there's no way this is possible. But this is one of the mistakes you would want to say. You sit down and you forgive yourself for it. And you just write yourself a little letter, dealing with the issue, facing it, taking responsibility that the money did come to you. However, you found a way to spend 100% of it and more. And so there is no funds available for 3 months to 6 months of your current living lifestyle. So you take responsibility for that. And then you forgive yourself because no one else can do it for you. And then that spirit leaves you, so that now money comes in and you begin to save more than the average of what you usually save, so that 3 months from now, you can have even maybe your first month set aside. But in 1 year, you will be able to put away at least 3 to 6 months of your living expenses because of just forgiving yourself. Do we understand that?
That's powerful.
Yeah, it is. It's really a good state of being to practice. I wanted to really, go into this today with anyone that wants to use themselves and as an example, so I can help bring that out for you. Another mistake to take responsibility for, so that you can be set free, is the mistake of not paying off the debt that you owe. One of the reasons for that is you have some people, they have $20,000 in debt, and then some people have hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. I know people who have millions of dollars in debt. And so that now is an unforgiveness brewing right there, because I don't seem to make enough money to pay off the debt. And even when I pay off the debt, I go right back and I rack it back up because, I'm in the self-punishment. So I've seen people where, like if you even pay off somebody's debt, this is how you know they carry this spirit. You pay off their debt, but within less than, say, 6 months, their debt went right back to the level, actually even more than what was paid off for them. That's why it's good not to pay off people's debt, because that's their vibration that they're carrying. You can't help somebody else with their money vibration. They have to clean that energy up on their own.
Wow.
Okay, so that's one. Number 3, not tracking your expenses. That's a mistake you would want to say forgive yourself for. So, the money came in, you made $2,000, you made $3,000, and at the end of the month, you don't know where the money went. You didn't save any, you didn't pay any tithes, you didn't take yourself out. I mean, I hear people they'll use terms like, well, I used it for good things, I didn't use it for bad things. It doesn't matter.
Right.
The deal is, where did the money go? It's not multiplying for you in any way. So therefore, that's now a mistake that my soul is going to feel bad about, because I did get the money, but I didn't track where the money went. So my soul feels condemned, and it feels shame, and it feels like somebody's hurting me for not being responsible. What am I doing wrong with my finances? Now that is punishment. And until you sit down with that one thing and say, okay, I'm going to forgive myself for not tracking my expenses in the month of May or the month of June, whatever it is, that spirit will fall into you for even generational. It'll pass on to your children's children as well, if you don't correct it. Number 4, rushing to buy things too fast. So I know someone, because I was trying to help them with this one. And what they do is they go to the store, like a Walmart or a Target or something like that. They buy as much as they can, and then they return it. They return it 2-3 days later. Well, what kind of punishment is that one? Just imagine the mindset about money for you to do that. And you're not doing it one time. You're doing it every month. This is your pattern. You go shopping, and then you buy the item. Some people even wear the items, then return it, because you don't feel valuable or worthy of money. The money mistakes that you've made, you've decided to punish yourself, and this is the way to do it. So this is one you'd want to definitely sit down and say, I forgive myself, and write out a detailed letter of how you are so sorry, and apologize to yourself for allowing this behavior to continue, thinking that you can gain wealth with this behavior. No, that's not going to work. Okay, number 5, only dealing with finances when something goes wrong. Again, something to forgive yourself for, because if that's the only time you want to look at your finances, we have a pattern that we're creating, which is a negative habit towards money, that you would want to say, okay, I need to face this and see what's really behind this, and I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm going to correct it. And that's what it's about. This session today is for you to identify where you are struggling with financial mistakes, and where you're holding on to unforgiveness, expecting somebody else to feel your pain. They can't. They have their own financial pain that they're dealing with. You have to solve your own financial pain. And number 6, not communicating effectively with your partner about future financial goals. Now, this is for those who are married or in a relationship with someone and they have finances. Some might have separate accounts. Somebody in a relationship like this might even have where they have accounts together. Whatever it is, the deal is, there is unforgiveness here when you have a couple or a situation or a partner where there's no communication about how we're going to spend the finances in the future. There's no communication about how much money we're going to save for the next 12 months together as a partner. There's no communication of, the house that you want to buy in the future, and, how much is the down, all of that stuff. The fact that you're not communicating with your partner about the finances, but you're together, there is a little money shame happening there. And what that does now is you begin to act out unconsciously towards each other, not recognizing that this is because I had not forgiven myself, because I didn't really tell you what I really want to do financially for the next 12 months or the next 30 days. I just assume you should be responsible for that because you're the man of the house. And he's thinking, okay, well, you're the one that's making more money than me, so why should I buy the groceries? So there's so much there. There's so much there. And we need to face it so that it doesn't kill our relationship with the people that we live with or the partners that we have. Number 7, only making minimum payments on your credit card. That is punishment. Because when you make minimum payments only, you are now stuck with interest, where you become enslaved to the credit card company at over 26% of your money. Understand, you're already at 100% of your money, you're spending. And then you went ahead and allowed them to take another 26%. You'll never get out of that one. And that money shame is hanging on to you because you're not getting away with it. They're charging you that interest if you don't pay it back. So minimum payment is a way to keep you enslaved to the system. And this is for those who are bent on looking for ways to punish themselves where they'll never get out of the financial debt or the rat race and things like that. Number 8, not having a written plan for your finances. So money shame comes in. I say I want to make more money, but I don't have a plan for it. I haven't read any books about how to create a plan. I haven't asked for any advice. I haven't asked for mentorship in this area. I just don't do the basic steps I need. So then I have this shame in my life on my finances, not knowing how it's affecting me in my future. Number 9, paying your bills late. This one is beyond unforgiveness, because this one, there's no reason to pay the bill late. But there's something in me that wants to punish me even more because I want to pay more late fees, and I want to punish myself in finances so bad. So I allow myself to be in a position where I pay my bills late when I could have called and make arrangements so that I wouldn't have to pay the late fee. But I didn't do that because my punishment was so severe for myself. I decided I'm just going to drink the poison and hoping that the people who I owe the money to, that they'll feel the pain for me. And they don't. No. And number 10, living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm going to stop there because I want you guys to ask me questions, because this is a very deep subject right here.
So going back to emergency funds, I think most people would say, they don't make enough, right, to save. The interesting thing is, if we do get a raise, it seems to be where we still don't have enough for, it seems like the money will slide into something else rather
because of the punishment.
Right. Anyone have that experience, or even, you're trying to save, but you always just only have enough money, like to the dollar for the bills that's due?
For me, it's you save something, but then an emergency comes. So then, I mean, it's for emergency, so you use it, and now you have to start over to rebuild. And a lot of things that she has said, I felt guilty over the years about, and I never thought that it was punishment that kept me where I didn't want to be when it comes to finances. So now I have to change my thinking process, as she says, forgive myself and make myself do better.
Hi, good night. Simone here in Trinidad. This is a very, relevant topic for me. And like Donna saying, the money never, you always seem to find something to put the money into. It's never like enough. Because I remember when I was younger and I first started working for a lot of money, it seemed like, wow, it's a lot of money. And, you had excess at a certain point. But then you soon fill that gap where the money it wasn't enough again. And you had to find another way to get more money. So you always seem to be finding other things to do to fill up that money space and not saving, not putting aside in the right, avenues. So, I mean, looking back now, it really is, it really is, punishing yourself. And then when I look at any sense of addressing your financial state after, and not being proactive after you've been, in all this debt and you keep going through the same cycle over and over. And then you're wondering why you're not getting out of it, but you're only sort of like thinking of the situation after, not being, proactive and putting the right measures in place, So it's a very relevant topic for me. Thank you.
Right.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
So basically there's like a money thief. That's as you earn more, something just comes and goes, nope. And no
Yeah.
savings for you, no surplus for you. It's another bill and another bill. So it seems like maybe we are creating these new bills as soon as we get a space.
And to think, where is it going to, right? So where are you bringing that money to somebody who is actually practicing what I'm talking about, which is forgiving themselves, daily forgiveness. You'll find your way to bring your money to someone who is not condemning themselves about paying their bills on time or having abundance or feeling, prosperous. If you have any negative feeling about those things, or if you haven't forgiven yourself, you will find you will work to give somebody else your money.
And then I think the domino effect that happens too is, so then you feel the emotions, you feel it in your heart, you feel the stress, you feel like, wow, I can never get ahead. So this, I think the cycle then kind of continues because now you're really feeling like every time you try, you're working 2 extra jobs and you're still behind. The credit
Right.
still at 26%. You are paying the minimum. No, like clear, no, nothing in sight, no relief in sight.
But it works. I want to explain to you that the society needs people in this state in order for the country to survive. Without this type of mindset with their finances, it would not work the way the rich gets richer. So in a way, for the system to work properly, they need people that will pay the 26%, and some people will pay up to 50%. We have mortgage now, people who are getting mortgages and they even have a 50-year mortgage. Just think about that for a second. A 50-year mortgage in the US. And then you still don't own your house. The bank owns it. So think even about, for those who are at a higher level of, say, self-punishment. I own my house, but my debt ratio is so high, I'm thinking I'm getting away with something by having a 50-year mortgage. In fact, I can't even begin to understand what that pain will bring to me in my future. I have a house, but I can't furnish it. I have a house, but I have trouble paying the light bill or the water bill. I have a pool, but I can't service the pool. There's not enough finances coming to service the pool. I don't have enough funds to full the refrigerator and things like that. Or I can't go on vacation now because I have a mortgage at this price. And then I remember in Canada, which is where I was brought up, they had 15-year mortgage. And when the free trade went through with the US, they increased it to a 30-year mortgage. But it's still, it's just crazy to see the level of self-punishment that is there when you don't have consciousness about money and consciousness about how you must really love yourself enough to quickly forgive yourself every day that you mess up. Every day that you make a mistake, you forgive yourself. Stop condemning yourself. Stop putting yourself down. Stop telling yourself that, this is all you deserve. This is not what you deserve. You deserve to live life more abundantly. You deserve to have wealth and riches flowing to you like a river that never runs dry. You deserve to have all of your bills paid, not just some. You deserve to have money in your bank account flowing over, money in your savings account, your checking. You're supposed to have investment. This is what, when you forgive yourself, you have that energy and have that overflow coming to you. So the main thing is to catch yourself when you start condemning yourself about not having enough, can't pay the bills, where are you going to get the money from? And begin to say, you know what? I forgive myself. I forgive myself today for all the money mistakes that I made, conscious or unconscious. I forgive myself for the money mistakes that I created in my teenage years, my 20s, my 30s. Go back as far as you can and forgive yourself in a heartfelt forgiveness. And if you're not crying at the end of your forgiveness, you haven't forgiven yourself, because you have to go deep with yourself because something must leave you so that the abundance can find you. Any questions there?
Yvonne, I actually wrote something about forgiveness today. Had no clue what chapter you were even tonight. So I'm like, oh my God. So this energy. I think, and I know there were some comments in the chat, and if we can, you feel free to unmute, like I said, and just go ahead and make your quick comment, please. Tasha.
Good evening. Good evening. Deborah from Dominica, Commonwealth of Dominica. Here.
Dominica, okay.
Yes, yes. Very interesting topic. But I'm just there thinking, I know we went through two major hurricanes, 2015, 2017. And we had invested in a property. We had to sell that to rebuild our business and home. We're still rebuilding, but last year I celebrated a major milestone, and my daughter got a really nice award for going into secondary school. So I thought, hey, let's just splash out 2 nights in the top hotel, breakfast in bed, celebrate. And my husband was like, well, we're in disaster, So I'm like, no, I don't care. Just for 2 nights, I need to celebrate. This is a major milestone. I'm not somebody who will go buy clothes, always in hairstyle, always dressing up, blah, blah. But, when it comes to certain things like major milestones, I want to mark it. I want to celebrate. I like to create happy memories more than anything else. So I don't know. I'm not feeling guilty. I'm still having memories of my daughter dancing on the hotel balcony. You know, we just having eat as much as you want breakfast. Oh, and you know, so I am not guilty at all. And you know, I don't think I want to forgive myself. But I'm just sharing this. You know, that
Right.
the money could have been used to buy a few more ply and you know pay a painter and you know and stuff like that. But I just thought, you know what? I said to him, right now, if I die, you have to spend 20 times more to bury me. So are you going to seize this opportunity? You know, that's how I look at life, to just enjoy myself in this moment. I'm not going to break a bank. I haven't taken out a loan for it or borrowed it. You understand? But everything is in perspective. I know it's
right.
just
You're right.
different
No,
take.
you're right about that. But so this is the thing though, you don't have a lot of money shame or guilt.
No.
So that's why you can do that. But the average person on this line today, they don't have it the way you have it.
Right. Right.
So we're grateful for you, and we're thank you for sharing, so that they can see there is a possibility that this can also happen for them, where they can enjoy their finances when it comes in, and there's no need to get a loan to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's when, like, for you, you didn't go out and get a loan to celebrate.
No, I did not get a loan. That was just, you know, savings I had, you know.
Right.
And
That's right.
I
There
could
you
have
go.
gone and buy
There
a
you
few
go.
bags of cement or pay somebody to progress the
That's
building
okay.
and stuff like that. But I'm like, no, you know, I've
There you
sacrificed
go.
enough. Disaster happened, a stroke, and you know, I cried a lot over it. But I have to celebrate too. I have to, you know, mark
That's
this
right.
this momentous occasion.
And you couldn't celebrate if you had any unforgiveness with yourself. And that's the beauty of your story right now. So we are so grateful for that, because you're showing the group that, guess what? Because I don't have the unforgiveness with me with money, I can do this and recover very quickly.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. One thing my mom ingrained in us: you never hang your hat higher than your hand can reach. That is one thing she always hit home in us, you know. Live within your capabilities. You're not there to impress other people. And, you know, that always in my heart, you know, that always with me. And it really works
Amen.
well.
Amen.
I think,
Thank you
Deborah,
for sharing.
for you, for many people, what probably would have happened was they would have put themselves in debt for that celebration, and then
Yes.
it's more debt. And so that's the negative. That's the other side of it, where when you don't, I believe Yvonne said, when we didn't properly save, right? So we didn't properly put away the 3 to 6 months, and now there's a celebration. So now we go put ourselves in bigger debt, and we're paying credit card or whatever, the Amscot fees and all these different things. So we just need to be wiser financially, like you.
Right. There you go. Does Tasha have something? Tasha, what do you have?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I am still, like, I'm doing the letters, I'm doing the work, you know, as you recommended, even teaching and stuff like that. And still, I find myself struggling to make like real-time choices. So for example, I have a set amount of money. The way I receive money, I never am clear when there's going to be more. And so I have this, say for example, I have something that needs to be paid for my business, but I also want to tithe, and then I have reoccurring bills. And I know if I pay the business fee, I can't tithe necessarily if I'm just looking at it real time. If I tithe, then I can't pay the business fee. So real time, I'm not always entirely clear on which move to make. Now my spiritual sense says tithe, duh. And then you know that, but then my sort of, like, I'm trying not to panic and trying to live in and stand in faith. But then obviously there's the part of me that always operated the way I operate. And so it's like, listen, pay the business fee. When some more money comes in, you'll tithe from that double, you know, and all these all these fandanglings, and I'm just like, how do you behave real time when you're doing the work, but still are dealing with real, maybe the consequences of past behaviors that you need? That's where
right. So, and that's a really good question, because I think a lot of people are actually even having that question in their minds as well. And so I would say in this case, when the unforgiveness is still too high, you will begin to still not have enough. So just know that, you know, it's the issue is the spirit of unforgiveness. That's the main thing. And so what you would want to do is practice daily unforgiveness with yourself, especially about tithe, for example. So that would be one of the areas I would go into, and I would forgive myself for not being able to pay my tithe. And I would stop trying to make any kind of deal that I'll pay double next time, because that's not how the tithes work. So
I know,
because that's kind of like a setup for not
it's
being
like
able
a
to pay the
hustle
tithe.
guy.
Right.
You know,
Right. You know, so that immediately makes you not able to pay. So what you do is you realize you receive your check, and like you said, you want to pay the business expenses, and so you went ahead and paid. But make sure you take that responsibility and say, you know, I'm going to spend that time forgiving myself for not being able to pay the tithe or whatever bills I'm not able to cover with the finances I just received. What that does then, it opens up the energy instead of closing it. The unforgiveness closes the financial energy. The forgiveness and the awareness and the responsibility opens up the financial energy. And then now there are people looking to give you the exact amount of money that you are missing to pay those bills or pay the tithe or whatever it is. It just flows into you because you stop blocking it.
right. Yeah.
Tasha, I'm self-employed, so I understand. What I do is, and yeah, so my money is never like weekly, right? As a realtor, so we get a check, and so what I do is I just go ahead and take your percentage, your 10% for your tithe or whatever, take that off the cut immediately. Your tithing, your offering, whatever, and self professional dues coming up in the next month, in the next 6 months, take that the minute that after the check comes in, put it into a separate account.
Yeah, well, that's the plan. But then I realized that if I did that, I wouldn't be able to pay the business fees, and therein lay the dilemma. Like, that's when I started to get anxious, because I'm like, I had all intentions of making sure that tithe was paid, religiously from this point forward, as I was learning more about it and just trying to live in alignment. And then it's like, then now do I pay the tithe? And then if my unforgiveness work hasn't like clicked in yet, now I suffer the consequences of what is the domino effect of not paying the business fees, so on and so forth. So that's why my anxiety levels were going up.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it really, because the Bible talks about be anxious for nothing. So I wouldn't worry about the fact that, okay, I messed up, I didn't pay the tithe. I would just quickly forgive yourself. Just keep practicing until you get on the vibration. Keep practicing until you get on the vibration, but don't give up. That's all.
I can't give up, not in my DNA. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Get it.
That was an awesome personal experience, Tasha. I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm self-employed. It can be challenging sometimes, but that's my plan. Like you said, like to just see the money as like that 10% doesn't even really exist in my account, because I'll just take it off the top. Like, so if I say, oh yeah, I got $1,000 coming in, it's like in my mind it should be 900, because I know 10% is going to go to where it's going to go. So yeah, I appreciate that. So and I'll definitely take the advice and don't get
Yvonne, from what I've noticed too, and what I've been paying more attention is how my heart feels. Like when Tasha says, like, if there's a little bit of money, oh my God, I start you kind of like even you start to be afraid to go into the checking account. And so I've become more aware of that and just try to, even before I look, just, again, because especially, see, when you're a wage earner and money comes weekly or bi-weekly, you just know as long as you show up to people's job. But self-employed, it's definitely a fate existence. But yeah, I can sometimes feel my heart tighten up when, yeah, that professional bill or something really critical needs to be paid, and then it's not there. But yeah, I think the forgiveness really kind of like it releases that.
Yes, this is how you release yourself from any kind of bondage. And like as soon as you guys get off this line, because we've got another 7 minutes, I would say just stop whatever you're doing and just make that peace with yourself that, you know what, all the financial, mistakes that I've made, even the ones I don't know that I've made, or even the ones that was passed down to me from my parents, I'm just going to forgive myself right now. And I'm going to forgive anyone that did me wrong with finances, whether it's a mother, a father, a friend, a husband, a child. I have to forgive myself for those, because those are baggages. Those are energy that I'm carrying. So, for those of you who can have those memories, make sure you just take the time to say, you know what, I forgive myself for all of the money traumas I've had with people, whether it's a job in the past, or whether it's you went into a store and somebody treated you wrongly when it comes to finance, somebody overcharged you, somebody accused you, somebody stole money from you. All of this must be forgiven just to be set free. I'll tell you a story of a person that I was working with, and we worked on, okay, what's a money unforgiveness piece that you might be carrying but you're not aware. And they said, I don't have any. I said, okay, well, let's take a deep breath so the oxygen can go into your brain, and then we'll see what comes from that. And then the first thing that came out, this person, they had an issue when they were 17 where they took money from their father's wallet. Just imagine, right? They took money from the father's wallet. They're now 50 years old, and that punishment is still going. So we had to release that quickly so that the abundance can flow into their business.
Wow. So see, that's such a long time of holding that we're punishing ourselves. I saw that you mentioned even like number 9, paying your bills late, which I think so many times, there's some people that the minute the bill comes in, they pay it, and then there are some people that it's always paid late, and then we incur late fees, and so I think each of us have like little patterns that we start to identify and go, okay, I just need to, not judging, but I need to clean up my money energy, forgive myself and start to pay more attention.
Right. That's the bottom line, is that we walk away from this lesson knowing that we are worthy of financial abundance, financial increase, overflow, financial peace. We are worthy of that. We should not be going to bed worried about where the money is going to come from. That punishment is over. We love ourselves much more at a higher level, at a higher vibration. And because we love ourselves, we can receive forgiveness, and now we can give it to ourselves.
We had some comments. I know the living paycheck to paycheck too is another norm that I think we've gotten. I think we just have gotten used to a lot of norms that's not correct.
Right. but it's needed, for the system to work, the demonic system to
Right.
work. We need people who live paycheck to paycheck. That's for
Right.
sure.
So we just, I guess, have to understand that there's a setup, and it's either we get caught up with the setup, or we've got to do some work to get out of the matrix, like they say, and understand that even, yeah, whether or not we grew up around money or whatever, but today, right now, understand that, and so let's see, we've got a couple questions. Who else wants to have a comment real quick? We do. I see. Does forgiving yourself open you up to receiving more from
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So definitely forgive. I've been. Sometimes we hear this stuff, right? But I have been like recently absorbing it, because we can hear things and we see. Sometimes you absorb it, and when I tell you I've been on a forgiving rampage. Since I absorbed it, I'm like, what? Someone says praying over tides and expect an increase when you tide helps. And I also have noticed that tides protects my finances. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the question that I have. Any other question, anyone? New message, yes. How to forgive someone who hurts us financially.
Okay, so let's going back up to the first statement, where you're drinking the poison, you're putting yourself in prison. You have to forgive them, because they don't understand your pain, your financial pain. And so what you could do in that case is call it a seed, especially if they haven't paid you back. Just take that to God in prayer and say, God, I'm going to call this money that I gave this person a seed. And I want that seed to multiply, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. I'm also calling for 7 times increase into my life in the area of finance. And I'm also calling, 30, 60, or 100 fold. So you can use the scripture to be able to help you deal with that unforgiveness that you have with that person, but let them go and call it a seed and multiply your money in your future.
That is wonderful. I a couple years back had given someone $30,000 cash, and I never got it back for an investment. And there were times where I would lay down and my heart was literally hurting. And so now I realize that all those things I've been carrying.
Yes, yes.
So I have to forgive.
But you're going to forgive yourself today, and then you watch the heavens open up and call it a seed, especially if they didn't give it back to you. Call it a seed. 30,000 times 100%. You know how much money is waiting for you?
Yeah. So stop cursing them out. Yes.
Right.
Wow. All right. So I'm gonna I think I'm gonna rush just summarize the 10 things to forgive ourselves for. Forgive yourself for not having an emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of living expenses. Forgive you, and there was a note to forgive yourself that you're spending on 100% of your money. Number 2, forgive yourself for not paying off your debts. Forgive yourself for not tracking your expenses. Forgive yourself for to buy things too fast. Forgive yourself only dealing with finances when something comes up. Forgive yourself for not communicating with your partner about your money, about savings, expenses, your goals, etc. You mentioned that it's up to you to do the work, the inner work, and solve your own financial future. Forgive yourself for only making minimum payments on your credit card. And I think to that, maybe even add in something 25 over, just don't do the minimum. Number 8, forgive yourself for not having a written plan for money. And a lot of times, Yvonne, we ask for, I want $10,000 a month, I want 20,000, 5,000, but we have no idea what we would even do with the money if we got it. So that's just an example for having a written plan. Number 9, forgive yourself for paying your bills late. If you're in the habit of always paying things late, you know that's a spirit. Shake it, be aware of it, forgive yourself, start paying bills on time. Number 10, forgive yourself for living paycheck to paycheck, because you are worthy of financial increase, of financial abundance. I think that was the 10 things to forgive yourself for, right, Yvonne?
Yeah, that was good. You did very good. I think the group did very well. And the only thing I would just say is that for homework, write a forgiveness letter daily to yourself for the next 90 days, just to set yourself free. Just write a forgiveness letter, and ask God to reveal to you where you are unconscious of some of these money mistakes that you are holding on to that's stopping you from opening up those doors. So use questions to get that revealed to you, that where am I holding on to a money trauma or a money mistake or a money offense that happened to me or a money shame, and how can I deal with that now, and then begin to forgive yourself once it's revealed to you. But spend the summer, I would say, making sure you identify this spirit every day that's coming to visit you, and realize that you're going to overcome that, and you're going to have a greater testimony at the end of the 90 days, knowing that even though it's the summer, you're going to enjoy yourself. You're going to have a good time. You're going to be able to spend money freely without any kind of shame or condemnation or feeling anxious. You're going to beat this spirit. And that's what you need to know. You are going to beat it. And I'm praying for all of you, and I'm praying that you'll have great testimonies to share with the group when we get back on after the holidays. But don't wait till then. Start sharing now with everybody around you how you're beating the spirit over your finances. So I love you guys, and I will be leaving, but good job.
Yes. Thank you so much, Yvonne. And again, everybody,
All right.
Because we'll be breaking for July and August, so we will resume the first Monday in September. And this is definitely work in progress for each person has like maybe something out of the 10 that they need to forgive themselves for. And sometimes you don't even know which one. So just just if you have to do a blanket forgive me, because you may not even remember where you messed up or what you did, but you just know that every time you get money there's a block, or we sometimes we feel blocked, and so we can sense when something is off and go with that. But I believe and today I wrote about the prodigal son, actually a prodigal daughter is what I said. But look at how when we forgive ourselves for whatever, the reward, God's arms just opens up to welcome us. So don't ever be like, man, that was wrong. That is the past. Forgive yourself. Start to monitor how you feel around money, about paying your bills, about walking to the mailbox. Just all of that to to get the bills, you start to feel tight, tensed up. All those are emotions around it, right? So monitor that when you go into your checking account, or money, money has an energy. And so we have to learn to like gauge that energy from the worry to more neutral and respecting money, and that money can be used for negative and it can be used for wonderful things like blessing the community, helping family, feeding people. So let's start to look and feel about money differently so we have better money experiences. All right, so I'm still trying to decide, because it's summer months, and June is Caribbean American Heritage Month, if I'm gonna do um a wisdom talk next week. If I do, I will send out. I think everybody here is on the mailing list, right? So Dominica, are you on the mailing list, or were you invited? So if you were invited and you're not on the mailing list, just put it in the chat so I can get it, please. If not,
Yeah, Simone, thank you, Simone, for inviting
oh,
me.
yes. Okay. Simone is one of my global outreach partners in Trinidad. So I'm in Florida, and Yvonne is in California. But Women of Culture Incorporated, we have women in Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, in Bermuda, Bahamas, Jamaica, Haiti, Guyana, Trinidad. So um, we are a multicultural group, and all about supporting women, community, family in different ways. And we got to get our money game better, but there's an energy behind it that most of us don't know. So then we worry, and worry is a destructive energy. So I'll probably do that next week so we can talk more about why why these energies hurt us, because we have constructive energy, which is love, light, peace, and we have destructive energy, which is worry, depression, sadness, unforgiveness. So there's a reason why these energy and the way we feel attacks us in different ways, in our health, in our money, in our relationships. So I think I will finish off the unforgiveness piece that I wrote about. If you on Facebook, you can find me in my blogs on Inner Vibes with a Z, Inner, then VIBEZ, Inner Vibes Consultant on Facebook, or just message me or email me. But right now, in our world, we see a lot of hate, we see a lot of crime, there's a lot of negative energy in our atmosphere, and we have to learn to bring more love and understand that our personal energy can contribute. So with that, I'm going to say thank you all for joining us. Let's continue to be awesome leaders, great, abundant, prosperous in our, not just our family, but in our community, around the world, and so that we can teach others about this energy and how we can forgive and release, and just open up our channels for blessing. All right, love you guys. If anyone wanted to stay back and have a question, I'll you.
Okay, Donna, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. I just put my email address in the chat to be added.
Yes, I see it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's good vibes.
Dominica. So we have Dominica, Trinidad, Tanzania. Wow, it's very late for you. Tanzania must really